You see this girl. She's standing in the corner, constantly shifting her weight from side to side. A smile crosses her face even though she's still biting her nails. You see her standing in the corner. You know nothing about her, yet you say everything about her. People spread rumors about things they see and talk about things that will forever change the person they say them about. Something like, did you hear she did this? Can you believe she did that? I heard X, Y, and Z. She's so fake for that. And those people say these things as if there weren't any consequences. And when people say those things enough, eventually there's an overwhelming sense of self-awareness. Am I standing weird? Am I walking strange? Do I ask this question? If I ask this question, will I look stupid? Do this better, don't do that, be better, or don't try at all. This innocent, anxious girl standing in the corner became what everyone said about her. And after living a life where people tell you who you are, and a life where they tell you how to act, you're destined to become those things at some point. This girl spent her entire freshman year being influenced by what others said about her, until COVID struck. And all of a sudden, the girl didn't know what to do without direction from her peers. COVID forced her to isolate herself, to be on her own, and figure out how to be more self-reliant and not live off of others' expectations. Then one day, when she was scrolling through social media, she found this post talking about the influence that others have on individuals, and the significant control that words have on people. And with more research, she came across a term called self-fulfilling prophecy. And with more thought, she realized that she had fallen victim to it. Self-fulfilling prophecy is defined as a phenomenon where a person's expectation for the behavior of another person serves to bring the prophesied or expected behavior. In simpler terms, when someone expects something from a person, the person's behavior can align with that expectation in order to fulfill the stereotype. There are both positive and negative forms of self-fulfilling prophecy. One example of positive self-fulfilling prophecy is the placebo effect, where two patients are given treatments. One treatment works, but the other, called the placebo pill, doesn't. However, the patient with the placebo pill is told it does. The patient with the pill starts to improve despite the pill not actually doing anything. And the belief that the pill works and the patient's improvement because of that belief is the patient's prophecy being fulfilled. An example of a negative self-fulfilling prophecy is the nocebo effect, where the same patient takes the placebo pill, but this time it has a negative effect on them. There are also two types of self-fulfilling prophecy, self-imposed and other-imposed. Self-imposed is a prophecy based on one's own expectations that becomes a factor for one's actions, meaning that if you say you're going to fail a test because you've been bad at that subject in the past, you will continue to be bad at that subject because of the negative thoughts toward it, or you believed you'd fail because you believed you would. Other-imposed is a prophecy based off of others' expectations of another individual, which affects that action of that individual. Meaning, if your friend says that you'll pass a test, your friend's expectations for you is something that you'll believe, or you'll fulfill this expectation that your friend set for you. Now, how do you know if you have self-fulfilling prophecy? Well, you may be pessimistic about present or future situations. You might be regretful or stuck on bad experiences from the past. It's also possible that you focus entirely on the negative parts of any circumstance, or that you believe the bleak things will happen to you regardless of how much control you have over them, or that everything that occurs in your life is inevitable. Self-fulfilling prophecy can impact social functioning, motivation, self-esteem, happiness, and many other aspects of your everyday life. People's expectations of you can affect your performance in school, work, and extracurricular activities. And if the prophecy emerges in childhood, it can carry over into adulthood, which can take a toll on future projects and your ability to stay focused on your goals. People with anxiety may believe they're unsafe in their surroundings. They could become paranoid or emotionally sensitive. People with depression may assume that they're worthless, unlovable, or ineffective. And as upsetting as those symptoms sound, there are many ways to break the cycle. And one of those ways is to become aware of the prophecy that you or others are setting for yourself. It's essential to be mindful of how you talk to yourself and make sure you're using encouraging words like, "It's going to be okay," or "You got this," It's also important to realize the expectation you're setting when you say those words and see your own self-destructive patterns that are part of your daily routine. A second way is to change your beliefs and language. Break your defeatist thinking and replace it with a more positive angle to set achievable goals. Recognize the negative connotations in your speech and stop using words like never, always, can't, or hate, and replace them with a more optimistic tone like I will do my best or I did the best I can. A third way is to work on your self-esteem by focusing on what you need and what you want to achieve for yourself and not what others want you to achieve. Concentrate on what you want in the future and don't dwell on the present. And yes, that's easier said than done, but if needed, you should be able to prioritize yourself and take care of yourself before you take care of others. And if centering yourself to improve your self-esteem is too difficult for you due to your current situation, fake it. Fake it till you make it is actually a really effective way to force positive speech about yourself, because eventually those positive affirmations will become a natural practice that you won't have to fake. A fourth way is to surround yourself with people who believe in you and choose people that will support you in every way. People that are going to be there for you and give you a hug when times are tough, but people that are going to support you and tell you that they're proud of you when times are good. Surrounding yourself with positive people will bring out the best in you and give you a new, beneficial expectations for yourself. Ones that are simple to achieve, but also ones that give you the opportunity to challenge yourself and give you the hope for the future. The last and possibly the most important way to break the cycle is to be patient and kind to yourself. Realizing the negative words and tones you use takes time, and shifting from a negative to a positive outlook takes patience. And if you're not patient with yourself, it's easier to think that your effort to have an optimistic future is hopeless. So when you feel irritated that this process is taking too long, regroup and focus back on your future goal. Because you deserve to have the feeling of accomplishment. You deserve to feel in control of yourself. You deserve to break the cycle and live the future that you want for yourself. And once breaking the cycle, it could feel like a weight is lifted off your shoulders and like you found a place where you belong and feel like you bring something to the table. And for those who feel self-fulfilling prophecies stronger or more negative than others, this breaking the cycle could feel like you're worth it or feel like you're loved. Now, some of you may have guessed it, but that girl in the corner, rocking back and forth and biting her nails, was me. My life experience before realizing self-fulfilling prophecy wasn't as dramatic as it seems. But now that I've realized it and have grown from it, my life has gotten more positive. I found a place where I belonged, and I found what drove and inspired me, which is creating art and writing words on paper. I found a way to share my story even when it was difficult for me to talk about. And some advice from a girl who broke the cycle, it only took realization. I realized why I was suddenly confused in my life. I realized that some of the people around me weren't good for me. I realized that when someone told me something that they noticed about me, I made that trait the only thing that mattered. I realized that I was trying to make everyone around me like me, so I changed who I was based on their personality. But once I was in lockdown because of COVID, the cycle stopped since I stopped seeing those people every day. And being forced to make my own prophecy was the best thing that could have happened to me. And with the simple step of realization, it gave me the courage to work to create my own prophecy. And here's some more advice I was told not too long ago from a girl who told me to just believe in myself and it'll happen. Thank you.